Hola! Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome, welcome, welcome to Tuesday night. How we doing? How we doing? There's a lot of people in here. This is what I miss. See, I went back to my old software, and unfortunately, I'm not streaming now on Rumble at the same time, which that part sucks. But I get to schedule again on YouTube, and you guys get to all come in. So it's just better this way. I gotta figure it out. I gotta figure it out because I want to be on Rumble as well, but right now it's just not working. Just not working. Yeah, I see a lot of you guys. How do I see the GTI squeeze go down? Croteau, come on, you know the answer to that. I haven't changed. I haven't changed, but if you want me to go through it again later, I will if I got time. Lou is gone. Yeah, so unfortunately, the news I got yesterday was turned out to be correct. It was early because we hadn't had the full confirmation yet, but it was correct, and you know, it's a bummer. I feel bad for his family. I really do. And he had a devoted bunch of followers. I had stopped watching Lou, gosh, over a year ago, and every once in a while I went back and just checked to see what he's saying. But overall, I hadn't watched him in a long time, and you know, but I have mostly good memories with Lou. Didn't end well. The whole Cosm thing, he lost me. But before that, I'd had good experiences with Lou. He got me out of AMC, and he found GTII for me. So you know, love him or hate him, I most of my experiences with Lou were good, and but anyways, made me laugh a lot. And so yeah, Lou versus Wall Street, Akira, he is officially dead. He died last week, exactly a week ago today. But nobody had heard anything for a while, and then yesterday it started swirling around that he was gone, and then today it was official. His wife went out and his friends confirmed it that he passed away last week from an infection from a surgery, but before that he'd gotten intestinal cancer, and anyways, he died from a surgery and that cancer and got an infection. His body was too weak to fight it off, which really sad. So sucks, you know. You just, you know, there's a lot of people who can't stand him. A lot of people are pissed at how he went out with GTI last year and caused them, and I get all that. I agree. I mean, that's why I stopped watching him. But in general, you know, I think most people feel like you know, he's got 3 times, 4 times the following I got, so people mostly loved him. And you know, I'd like to think he did more good than harm overall. That's what I'd like to believe. So rest in peace, Lou vs. Wall Street, in your memory. He used to always do that. Always made me laugh. It was so stupid, but he was funny guy. So his he did a video once on the monkeypox going around, and he found this guy who had it, and he was laughing at him, and it was one of the funniest things I've ever heard, and I died. It was so funny. So, but anyways, he cracked me up. So anyways, so sad start, you know, but I said most of my piece on that yesterday. So let me see what's going on. Lots of people here tonight. Wow. So good to see you guys. Yeah, finally Dave's talking positive on XRP. I mean, I had somebody say to me that and it's guess it's not as relevant as it was yesterday. We had people, you know, a lot of people thought he passed away yesterday, including myself. And somebody wrote me saying, "Don't you think it's interesting? He passed away the last day before spring, um, almost like a season's passing on, and maybe he'd played his part and hit this, and it was time to go home." I don't really believe in that kind of theology that God just takes people home when they're done with stuff, especially not through pain and suffering. I think pain and suffering are always from evil, not from God. But anyways, I just yeah, I don't know. I don't necessarily agree with that, but it's also interesting. But on the flip side of that, I do believe sometimes if people are suffering or living a hard life, sometimes their mission, prayers, whatever, can keep them alive until they're finished with what they need to do. So there's the flip side of it. That and the main reason I believe this is, I guess I wasn't going to speak about death to open up my video, but I'll just talk about this for a minute and then we'll go on to everything else. But, most of you guys know my brother died. He passed away 8.5 years ago. He was younger than me. He was my little brother, almost 2 years younger than me. And he died on my birthday of all times. But what's really interesting about my brother's death? He had a rough life. From being a teenager, he kind of went down the road of drugs and all kinds of craziness. And he was 30 and he was walking like an 80-year-old man. He'd been so hard on his body. He'd survived like 4 overdoses and an attempted suicide attempt. And he just lived a rough life, my brother. And it was interesting that when he finally passed, he passed away in his sleep from an asthma attack. But the night before he passed away, he had gone up to a church and had kind of prayed and like wanted to change his life and, basically repented of his life and from rebelling his whole life and running away from God and from people who loved him and all that stuff. And I know that because I know the guy who was there to receive the prayer. He was a mentor of mine. And anyways, it was the very next night he died. And my personal belief is that, when my brother died that very first day, on my birthday, I remember like just kind of getting away quiet and praying because I was worried for his soul, honestly. And I just remember hearing in my spirit, like, he's with me. And I felt like that was God telling me he was in a safe place. And then the very next day I found out what had happened the day before he died. And I tell you what, there was a lot of prayer in my brother's life. My parents were pastors, and I think the prayers kept him alive all that time through all the overdoses and the suicide attempts and everything, kept him alive until his spirit was made right. And then his body just gave out. So it was almost like a grace that kept him alive that long. So anyways, that's one of the reasons I believe what I do. So anyways, okay, I'll move on. I don't want to depress you guys. Thomas, you were going to ask me to do the 2 fingers across the eye like Lou. Yeah, do a Lou salute. Good night, you silly little MFers. He cracked me out. He did. He called out Adam Aaron early. Yep, he was the first that I know of. So sorry for your brother, Robert. That sucks. Like a pair of signed thongs for next giveaway. You mean flip flops? We don't wear thongs anymore if we're guys, So, all right. Anyways, okay, guys. Tonight, got a lot of stories I want to go over. We'll cover. Any questions you guys have, GTI, fingers, EJOL. As far as I know, it's all the same stuff. Okay. I'm waiting till the end of the month when we're supposed to get something from GTI. Finger, as far as I know, we're still on the could be any day thing with Finger giving us news. And ZJOL, I have no idea what's going on with ZJOL. It started to rebound a little bit today, and we'll just see. We'll just see what happens. To me, that was always like, I'm not in that for a war, ZJOL. So I don't have a ton of stock in it. I'm not just accumulating in that. I'm still focused on GTI and Finger. And then what I have in ZJOL, I'm just going to leave it there and see what happens. That's how I am with ZJOL. I'm not being super active in it. But if I hear anything, I'll pass it along. But so other than that, it's GTI finger on my focus, and then the thanks, Big JR. But the focus for me is right now the economy and what's going on with that, because to me, as I shared last week in that ChatGPT video, to me the economy is going to be is probably going to be the most likely catalyst for squeezes. Not so much for rising in the prices, but for actual squeezes based on what I'm seeing. So Thomas, you're welcome. Thank you. Yes, M Echo, Lou's passing is confirmed. That it is. He's officially gone. He died last week. Where's my drink? I just got water and ice tonight, man. I had a lot of beer the last 2 weeks. I need to get back on losing some weight, especially well, I'm trying to get lean for the summer. Lyrical Fed last day tomorrow. Yes, tomorrow will be FOMC meeting, the decision on rates. So I think they will keep it. They will completely keep it the same. And I think there's going to be some hawkish language in there that's going to scare the markets. I really do. But I believe that the markets obviously are already pricing in the fact that there's going to be 3 or less rate hikes, which is hilarious to me because they were pricing in 6 or 7 at the beginning of the year. And it just keeps going away. But now more and more people are pushing it off. So drink same beer, but do more push-ups. Rosie, I tried that, man. I tried walking more. I'm walking over 12,000 steps a day. But I tell you what, when I'm regularly drinking beer, I don't lose any weight. I just don't. So what's coming at the end of the month market? We're supposed to get a 10K filing from GTI, which might have some information on a deal or a merger going through. So exciting stuff there. Who was the Blue Eyes guy? That was Bill Lycos, which I don't know much good about him. Invest in DWAC to help support Trump's $500 million bail. Listen, that bail is ridiculous. You know what's really funny about that? There's a lot of people who think that because he can't post a bail, it means he's not actually a billionaire. And it just shows you how stupid people are when it comes to worth and your value. Billionaires are not billionaires because they have that money in a bank. It's just amazing to me how little people actually know about money and how little people know about finances and how it works. And it's sad, honestly. I laugh, but it's mostly sad. It's because the education system doesn't teach you, and being poor teaches you to just live paycheck to paycheck. So you can't even fathom the idea of having investments and properties and stock portfolios that make you rich. People can't even fathom these things. They're just so used to living, just get a job. That's what they hear their whole lives. Get a job. Meanwhile, college is becoming more useless every day. But people who are billionaires, even what's his face? Even Mark Cuban, who I'm not a fan of, but even he came out, he hates Trump. And he was like, look, I'm no fan of Trump, but just because he's not able to post this doesn't mean anything about him being a billionaire. It shows what you guys don't know. He tweeted that tonight. I couldn't believe it. He actually was like correcting everybody. So it's just funny to me that people are actually believing that. And it's also sad because it shows the financial education of Americans is horrible. It's just horrible. But I'm sure they'll figure it out at some point. He'll probably sell some property or put together a couple different loans or something. They'll figure it out. Losing weight is overweighted. No, man, I just don't want to be, I don't mind having a dad bod. I'm okay with that. I'm just on the border of going past that. And I'm not okay with that. I want to be healthy for years to come for my wife and kids. How does beer jump? It hops for joy. You're bringing the dad jokes tonight, Anthony? I love it. What's up, Diana? Yeah, first Tony, then Lou. I know. Eat some. Not here to shill, but you're bullish on Solana meme coin Duco. Yeah, I don't know anything about that, Seaweed. You called these lows in DJ well. Okay, Goodwill. Congrats. Big Jerry, you're getting a half sleeve tattoo on your upper arm of the Archangel Michael and your kids when they were younger on April 5th. If GTA runs before or during that day, you'll add a GTI tattoo. Yeah, I like it. You could have the Angel Gabriel carrying the GTI to heaven or something. Brett, when Alan Dershowitz says Trump got screwed on this, you know he got screwed. Yeah, right. Yeah. Dershowitz, Kevin O'Leary, Grant Cardone, a bunch of other realtors in New York. Yeah. I don't know anything about Solana. Artificial intelligence. You don't care about anything else tonight. You're only here for Lou. Well, I mean, I don't know what else you want to talk about with Lou Artificial, but if you want to say something, angry at all the people who hated on Lou. Okay. Well, you won't find that here. I never was hating on Lou. I was honest about my disagreements, but I never hated on him. And don't blow up my chat, okay? Because that's not what we're doing here. This is not a place for fighting. Jenny L, what's going on? Ed Chabowski. You're one person has hundreds of billions of dollars in hand, and that's Zelensky. I know. No, he doesn't have it in hand. He just keeps buying yachts. So, are we looking a year plus for GTI figure? No, I don't believe that at all. This is the year, and the reason why is because the economy. I mean, let's start going through it. I want to show you guys some of the stuff going on today. Tony Denaro supports Solana. Oh God, that means run away. Al, still going giveaways. I don't have a Pee Wee Herman whoopee cushion. Do you? I'd do that giveaway for that. Wealthy to leave in New York City. Yeah, I know. Only fighting allowed is anti-Niners comments. Only in good fun. Yeah. All right. Hey, let's move on here. People come to go through some stuff. So I want to show you what I've been seeing today. This story is very telling. Okay, so CNBC put this story out today, and I was kind of floored that how honest they're being. Banks are in limbo without a crucial lifeline. Here's where cracks may appear next. This came out today. All right, this morning, and I updated 3 hours ago. They probably had a little detail to add, but let's go through this really quick. Okay. Forces that consumed 3 regional lenders last March left hundreds of smaller banks wounded as merger activity, a key potential lifeline, slowed to a trickle. Claros Group analyzed about 4,000 institutions and found 282 with both high levels of commercial real estate exposure and large unrealized losses from the rate surge, which may force these lenders to raise fresh capital or merge or go kaput. Behind the scenes, regulators have been prodding banks with confidential orders to improve capital levels and staffing. Isn't that interesting? They're putting the squeeze on the banks, which means just like the Powell said, he expects banks to fail. Well, now we know why. They're putting the squeeze on them. They're trying to squeeze out the weak banks. When this happens, it's going to cause a correction in the market. I just don't know how big it'll be, but let's see here. It's easy to believe the industry's in the clear because it's been a memory since last year, but the high interest rates caused the collapse of Silicon Valley Bank and its peers are still at play. Blah, blah, blah. As a result, hundreds of billions of dollars of unrealized losses on low interest bonds and loans remain buried on banks' balance sheets. That, combined with potential losses in commercial real estate, leaves swaths of the industry vulnerable. All right, let's keep going through this a little bit. Banks where commercial real estate loans made up over 300% of capital, and firms where unrealized losses on bonds and loans pushed capital levels below 4%. That's nuts. They're supposed to hold 10%. There's only Claros declined to name the institutions in its analysis out of fear of inciting deposit runs. They're scared of bank runs, okay? There's only one company with more than $100 billion in assets found in this analysis. Okay, what did Powell say? He said he doesn't expect medium or large banks to collapse, and it's New York Community Bank. But this is interesting. Most of the banks deemed to be potentially challenged are community lenders with less than $10 billion in assets. Just 16 companies are between 10 and 100 billion, though they collectively hold more assets than the 265 community banks combined. So if any of these 16 between the 10 and 100 billion go, it could start off a domino effect of massive collapsing. And this is my favorite quote. if there were just 10 banks in trouble, they would have taken them down and dealt with them. In other words, they would have just let those fail. When you've got hundreds of banks facing these challenges, the regulators have to walk a bit of a tightrope. They're terrified that this is going to go down. I think, here's Powell's warning. Acknowledge this month commercial real estate losses are likely to capsize some small and medium banks. I think they're going to be completely okay with pushing out a lot of the weaker banks. And this is what Wall Street is trying to get ahead of and trying to time, because it just said in this that the interest rates being held higher is really hurting these banks. Wall Street was hoping and praying that these rate cuts were coming to start making it easier so that the banks might have a chance to survive this, because Wall Street is dependent upon that liquidity so that they can push up the stock prices as with leverage, as we talked about before. So anyways, this story, I mean, you guys can read the whole thing later. It is, it's fascinating. There's so much in here, but it just shows you that the banks are in big trouble. And when they say their report says 262 have issues, if those start failing and that starts a domino effect, it actually could be much worse, because once it sprawls one into the other, look what happened with Credit Suisse when it collapsed and UBS bought it up. And then what happened next? UBS starts having major liquidity issues at the end of last year. It's all a big Ponzi scheme, and it's getting ready to collapse. They're running out of ways to keep it propped up. So, all right, let me catch up with you guys. Improve capital requirements for the upcoming rate hikes. That's an interesting thought, Rosie. Maybe, if rate hikes are even being considered, we might find out tomorrow from their Fed. I have a feeling they'll wait at least another till the next meeting to even think about it. But who knows? But even if it gets talked about, that's going to be a big red flag, scary flag for the markets. House loans are starting to default. Banks will lose. Domino effect. Car loans save. I know. Yeah. Thank you, artificial intelligence. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. It's not fun losing almost all your family, but it's, I've made it work, and they're in a better place. So thank you. Blake, absolutely insanely low volume on GTI, and they still sold it down. Something needs to break in the upward trajectory. Yep. I agree. We need that deal to go down, so at least it shores up the bottom. Big JR has a quote-unquote feeling ZJOL seems better days soon. I like that. Which banks were financing illegal shorting? Good luck figuring that out. If we all declare bankruptcy, will that make finger run? Who knows? That's a good question. Nick, Ace, if it wasn't for Lou, none of us would be here. He also had the best stories. Most of us would not be here. That's true. There still were a lot of OGs and GTI before we got here. So, but you're right. He did bring a lot of us over. Diana, in Canada, you had 41% more bankruptcy on business in 2023. It's so sad to see the mom and pop shops gone, and love going to them. Always got a high I know. Yeah, it is sad. It really is. Wouldn't it now be a great time for a ban on short selling? Scott, we could only hope and pray. That caused multiple short squeezes in the last financial crisis. So that would be wonderful if that happens. But what if there were no hypothetical situations? Life wouldn't be as fun. And I probably wouldn't have a show, JR, so shut up. Stop that right now, okay? All right, so here, Last Call puts up a quote from Kobisi. Fed pivot from December, which effectively felt like a victory speech, is now proving to be premature. Markets are guiding 3 interest rate cuts. We'll probably see less this year. Yeah, let's keep going on that. The where is it? I'm pretty sure I brought it up. It was... Oh, I guess I didn't bring it up. What's it called? A major financial institution came out and basically said they expect 0 rate hikes this year now, or rate cuts this year. I'm sorry, at this point, 0. So that's the sentiment of those that are actually watching the market, doing the quants, so to speak, running the numbers, doing the projections. They are starting to get to the point where they're projecting no rate cuts this year. That's going to be very interesting once that is priced into the market, how the market deals with it. It'll, in my opinion, it'll make the market much more fragile and prone to volatility based on little news here and there. Let's start the rumor. Jenny, you're sorry to hear my brother and parents. Thank you, Jenny. I appreciate that. You started GTI in 2019 market? Wow. Tim, OG checking in. Never heard of Lou until GTI ran last time. People gave him credit for the pump. Yeah, you found GTI accidentally. Thought I was investing in Canadian pot stock. Dubois says, I said it long ago, expect a rate hike from Powell. Wow. I don't remember you saying that, Thomas, but I believe you. Everybody watching this show, this channel for all this time, does believe or knows that I've been saying the earliest I thought a rate cut would ever come is September. And yeah, I still think that. And if it happens at all. So, all right. I love this right here. RFK Jr., whatever you think of him, I personally don't want him to be president just because his policies, for the most part, a little too left for me. But that doesn't mean I don't love the guy for what he's standing for when it comes to corruption and calling out a lot of the stuff going on with like the deep state type things. And I love that about him. So I like him, wouldn't mind him maybe in the administration somewhere. I just don't want to be president. But he says all this today. The system's going to collapse. It's not sustainable. The economy is no longer based on industrial production. It's based on speculation, which I've been saying forever. It's financialized our economy. We've sent all the industry abroad. It's destroyed the American middle class. And here's him doing a speech with somebody put a video together for it. But it's really good. He's right on this stuff. And I love him for that. So let's keep going. All right. Today, Bank of Japan hiked their interest rates for the first time in 17 years, eliminating its yield curve control program. This is because Bank of Japan knows it's in trouble. But this is also, it's interesting this is happening today and tomorrow, along with the Fed meeting, and now Japan's rates are going up. This has been a safe haven of stability for a lot of investors. And now that this is gone, Japan's finally broken this. I mean, 17 years. It's a long time to leave rates where they're at. A lot of people have been using Japan because of also the stability of the dollar. Okay, with the what is it? I always forget what Japan's currency is. Is it the yen? Yeah, it's the yen. So, anyways, that stability being gone now, there's more volatility coming into the markets. I'm telling you guys, March has been crazy. March has been absolutely crazy. Japan, first time in 17 years. That's March. I don't know if I'm acting like it's a big enough deal, but it really is. When can we expect some ACE NFTs? No time soon. Listen, I've like 300 people watching here. Maybe when I get to 1,000, 2,000. So, Wolfgard earnings, no movement. All the Bitcoin miners are getting killed right now. I listened to a great podcast on it today, by the way. I recommend it to everybody. Tom Luongo's podcast is Gold, Goats, and Guns. Great podcast. He had a guest on today. They talked about Bitcoin miners. If you guys are interested in that stuff, I'd go check it out. It's excellent. Do I think rate cut tomorrow? No way, Ralph. No way. I believe you said it, Dubois. I didn't remember. No way a rate cut tomorrow. Tomorrow is going to be hold steady. I am 99% sure that's what they'll say. If they will not cut, I guarantee that. If anything, I give it a 1% chance of a rate hike with inflation the way it's been going. But more likely than not, they just keep it on until June. They get more data. And in May or June, they're going to decide, are we going to actually start looking at hikes? Or are we going to feel good enough to cut come September is what I think. Good night, Jenny. Thanks for stopping by. Hector, Lou used a lot of his influence on us to take advantage, get some good gains, but regardless of that, yeah, I mean, who knows? I do know a lot of people who believe that at the very least, whether it was Lou or not, the Bill Lycos guy that was his friend definitely was a part of trying to pump and dump GTI on that 9 run. So now you have an idea for Ham's truck? He was asking for ideas on Williams Today's show. Oh, okay. So now I guess send it to me. Yeah, that's the best I could do to remember it. Alan, what's going on? Big JR, get with Dirty Mayo and his F Naked Shorts hat design. Can find my merch page. Oh, I should. Okay. Yeah, I'll try to remember that. Proof of work for Bitcoin right now for Bitcoin is awful. Proof of work for Bitcoin right now for Bitcoin is awful. What do you mean proof of work? How much have you been drinking? That sentence is all over the place. I can say that. Anthony has been my best friend since first grade. Higher for longer. Exactly, Todd. Rosie, current rate cut probability for May is 5.5%. Yeah, it's just market zero, dude. That's what I'm telling you right now. It's not happening. What platform is the podcast on? I get all my podcasts on something called Podcast Addict, which I think pulls from Google, but you could probably find it on Apple as well or Spotify. So now I put the names of pictures, those who've died holding MMTLP, and names of faces, other holders like single. Yeah, I mean, oh, you're talking about the truck? That's a great idea. So now what? Tim Harmon, Bitcoin, you're in Wolf and BTBT and also CIFR, which has a good past few days. Oh, okay. So maybe some of the miners are doing well. I just know for the overall are getting killed. Okay, so I just showed you guys that RFK thing. This is interesting. Thomas Massie, Republican in the House, he's one of the more stronger conservative ones. He says, I've come to the conclusion that economic catastrophe must happen before a majority of my colleagues will get serious about curbing out of control. Interesting that I don't know when those things will occur. That'll be the order of operations. Isn't it interesting that he comes out with this today? Is it almost like he sees something writing on the wall, trying to let us know what's coming? I find it very interesting when people in the know, in the government, write stuff like this. Come to the conclusion economic catastrophe must happen. So that's a pretty strong statement. I'm telling you guys, I think we're seeing, I can't tell you if it's next week, but before this year's election, something crazy is going to happen in our economy. I really believe so. And we'll see how it goes down. But Scott, no cuts tomorrow. CPI and PPI data have not supportive of cuts. Exactly. Data needs to get back to 2%, which is not happening. And I totally agree with you, Scott. They're not touching 2% anytime soon. We have to have an economic downturn for it to get to 2%. That's the only way. So they're going to have to get more restrictive with rates, and they're going to have to let the banks start failing. It's the only way to get there right now. It's the only way, unless they're willing to wait 2 to 3, 4 more years for it to get to that 2% rate. And I don't believe they are, because the economy is already teetering on the brink. I just don't see how. Goodwill, you don't like Fingers macro. Hard to ignore how much it looks like GTI when it's still in the 140s. Not saying get off Finger. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see. I think Finger's going to give us some news soon, and it'll flip it around. That's what I think. But I hear what you're saying. Don't go all in at 2. Wait. See if you can catch a better price. So there you go, guys. The charts guy is telling us could you see more bottom on there. Lyrical, Hampshire remind them the reason the market failed in the past. Also show the movies that came from it. Yeah, I agree. I mean, Margin Call, Big Short. Yeah. Husker, in my opinion, this is bigger than we'll ever know. The crooks figured they could shake us out and are now just going down with the ship. Yeah. But the thing is, they won't go down with the ship. The ship will go down, but what's going to happen as it goes down, and these places where they're trapped are going to pop off. And I feel more confident in that than ever after I ran all that through ChatGPT last week. And it was telling me everything that, like, every one of my theories, every one of my suspicions is right on as far as what's happened in the past and what the conditions tell us could happen. So I definitely still feel, it made me feel stronger than ever that we're in a really good place as this goes down. Mining's proof of work, and you've had a few. The wife's out. I knew it. I know you so well. What are you drinking tonight, by the way? Goodwill, the Bitcoin miners should all move together. If Mara moves, so Wolf, and vice versa. Maybe. I think Wolf is much more manipulated, though. Maybe Mara is too, but market worked for AIG in 08. We knew something was coming by August. Many sold out of the market in the summer. Interesting. Well, it's funny because we've been seeing more insiders sell right now than in recent history. So it sounds like, I mean, you tell me, Market Watcher, you worked for AIG, you saw people selling in the summer. Are these insider selling you seeing right now Is that reminiscent of what you saw in '08? Man, yeah, we got a sell signal on daily chart finger today. Mean can have more downside. Okay. Miles, what's going on with King Chuckle and the Princess? King Chuckle and the Princess. Oh, Chucky. Oh man, I have no idea what's going on with the Royals. You came to the wrong place for that. I I don't have that information. Todd, the report for loan loss reserves for commercial U.S. banks discontinued. Really? That's interesting. All right, let me continue on here. The current narrow rally in stock concentration is at levels last observed just before the 1929 Great Depression. Isn't that interesting? This is the top 10% of stocks by size versus the U.S. stock market. Here's the line, 1929. That's the peak. That's the highest it's ever been. And here we go. Here's NASDAQ tech stocks in 2000, right before that crash. Still didn't hit that line. And here we just hit it. We're hitting it. This is as of 2023. It's even higher now. So that tells you the highest concentration. All this concentration also led to downturns, by the way. Obviously, major market crash 29. This is back when right during World War II, right before World War II, we went to this correction. This is when the stock market just kind of went blip for years, barely moved. This downturn, spike, downturn, spike, downturn. Look at this. I mean, it's just like right here. Is this? Yeah, this is. All right, that's 87 right there. This little spike right here before it crashed and then rose back up. Anyways, every time these stocks get concentrated like this, there's a crash coming. It's just a matter of time. So very interesting stuff right there. Kobisi also says the same thing. According to Goldman Sachs, market cap of the largest stock is now 750 times the market cap of a 75th percentile stock. To put this in perspective, even at the peak of the 2000 dot-com bubble, the metric only hit 550 times. That's 200 times more. That's nuts. Than 2000. This is just insanity where we're at right now. We officially have a higher stock concentration than the peak of the Great Depression in 1932. Top 10% now reflect 75% of the entire stock market. Big tech is the stock market, which also means big tech carries the end of the stock market in it. I mean, look at this. This is insanity. Absolutely insanity. And the jalapeno margaritas. Oh my God, I love jalapeno margaritas. Those are dangerous. I could drink those all night. Just slurp them down. No wonder you're feeling tipsy. Don't worry, buddy. I'm planning on coming out to Texas soon. We're going to hang out. And you better make a good margarita for me. Anybody else in Texas while I'm out there, maybe we'll meet up. I'll be in the San Antonio, Austin area. Anyways, Bitcoin's taken a huge dip. Went from 73,000, I think it touched, down to 63,000. I don't know where it's at right now. Is it even lower, or is it stabilized for the day at least? Futures all red tomorrow. They're not looking forward to that Fed meeting. All right, Bitcoin, yeah, down to 62,000 right now. Wow, that's nuts. Nuts, man. $10,000 to $11,000 drop for Bitcoin. Crazy. Big JR, charts rhymes with sharks for a reason. I mean, charts are good for when the algorithm is in play, but when the algorithm is not in play, charts can cause you to get way off. So that's how I feel about it. Market Watch says, hopefully it'll be quick. Market recovery began in March 09. That's a good point, Market. I think it's quicker if Trump gets in, which I believe he will, because he'll turn on the energy. He'll unleash our energy production. He will slap tariffs on China and other places again. He'll help with our trade deficit. He'll get manufacturing roaring back again in the States. We'll get rid of all these stupid regulations trying to push EVs on us. Trump will unleash the economy again. How fast it'll turn around, I think it'll be slower than in the past, because that market recovery in March 09 was fake. It was all because of stimulus and because of them lowering interest rates. It wasn't a real recovery, and we've been in the fake recovery ever since then. except for the temporary years of Trump where he actually helped build manufacturing and get our energy down. But what he did just kept this fake recovery going with some real stuff added to it. But we just have never seen the full correction we need. And I think that's what's finally coming. Anthony, Bitcoin you hope hits 45 so you can buy more. What a crazy thing to say. I mean, I'm on your side. I would be okay if Bitcoin goes down because I want to buy up a bunch after we get these runs. Goodwill, you're saying don't waste the expensive lesson we learned in GChat about adding in positions. Good news earnings could turn finger on a dime. Right now you see a correction 130. Okay. Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens, man. But yeah, I always appreciate your opinion, Goodwill, even if I disagree with it. You've always been respectful, and that's why I don't mind you sharing different opinions. Do I I see what you did there, elongated. I'm not gonna fall for it. We've entered Black Swan territory, Mosi. We're pretty close, right? Eat some. 2 days ago, 20-year-old developer launched a crypto coin called Slurf. He accidentally burned 11 million of holders' money. Today, the coin has a higher market cap, larger than Bloomingdale. These are crazy, crazy. You're out there, Armand? Okay, that'd be fun. Susan, how's it going? Watching crypto on Uphold? Yeah. Crypto is it's so volatile right now. All right. We're now 24 hours out from the long anticipated March Fed meeting. Odds of an interest rate cut at this meeting are down to 1%. 3 months ago, markets saw a 90% chance that interest rate cuts would begin this month. You guys remember all this at the beginning of the year, December, January? They were so cocky about them starting to cut come March. It was, I mean, they were throwing a party already ahead of time. It was wild. But anybody who listens to me, listens to any of the people who actually see what's going on, I'm not just tooting my own horn. I learned from others. Okay. I've learned from others. I didn't figure this all out of myself. Okay. But I've learned Powell is what I've been studying the last year is learning the Fed and learning how Powell acts and how dedicated he actually is to this. And once you know that, you can kind of predict what's going to happen. And it's just not coming. Odds of a rate cut in May are down to 7%. 2 months ago, markets saw a base case with rate cuts at every Fed meeting this year beginning in March. Rate cuts are all but certain, or they were. And here's how it goes, how the odds have changed. I mean, I think it's hilarious. I think this is absolutely hilarious what how the markets, how stupid they are. And yet they're also kind of genius in how they use it to manipulate and get that price up. But guys, I'm telling you, I truly believe this has all just been a giant trap. They're just trapping a bunch of retail people and getting them to chase. Some guy came on today. I wish I'd saved the story, but he said basically, like, if you don't own NVIDIA right now, you're so arrogant you think you're a god, because NVIDIA is impossible to not go up way, way higher. And I'm thinking when they start saying that, when they start ridiculing people who aren't buying these stocks that are running up so high and treating you like you're stupid, that's a psychological thing. They're trying to get everybody in so they can pull the rug out from us and make a bunch of money off of us. That's what I'm telling you is how I see it. So what's up, Barbara? Rosie, 1%. So you tell me there's a chance. I love Dumb and Dumber. Mike, you're south of San Antonio. Maybe we'll have a big meetup in Texas when I'm out there. We'll do a night. We'll pick a venue and we'll all just get together. That'd be super fun. Big Jar, why don't I get my favorite beer maker to make me a sponsor then? Free beer? I don't even know how to start that. Who would I go to? My favorite beer maker is Dogfish Head. I don't think they're interested in sponsoring some economy conspiracy theorist on YouTube. Anthony, crypto always gets nuts after the halving. It's going to be a bloodbath leading up to it. Oh, you're on it tonight. Those jalapeno margaritas treating you well. Now I wish I had one. So after the halving, I think a lot of people think it's going to take off. Anthony, by the way, guys, this is my buddy. He's on here tonight. I've known him since first grade. He's like more than a brother to me. anyways, he's also kind of a crypto genius. And I want to have him on one of these times to talk about him. He's in internet security right now. But he's the one who's always been telling me about crypto stuff, and he's right much more often than he's wrong. So I need to have him on here. I'm waiting till we're more ready to focus on crypto stuff, because I definitely am going to shift to that a lot once I think we get one of these runs, which I think are starting to. The economy is telling me that I think it's going to be sooner than later. So you prefer Inverse Kramer? Inverse Kramer is right on. So sponsored by Bud Light. Roger, that's not happening. I haven't been taking my estrogen pills. Okay, so put call ratios dropped to historically low levels, indicating complacency in the markets. Typically marked local tops for the S&P. Anyways, this is just interesting. We talk a lot about passive investing. I mean, look at this ratio here. It's, the S&P going up and then the put call ratio down here. It's just never even touched this before. It's so pretty wild stuff. Just passive investing, when it gets to the levels it's at right now, it's always led to something. Every indicator is there. I hate when I'm listening to anything that says like, oh, the economy is strong, and they always say the two same things that are so stupid, because there's so much more going on than these numbers. Actually, they say three things. They say, well, the stock market's all-time highs, unemployment is still historically low, and GDP has been surprisingly strong. But that tells you nothing. It tells you nothing. It's like, anyways, those are for the simpletons, so that they can change the narrative however they want it to. But what they don't tell you is how they've changed how they evaluate unemployment over the years. They didn't change. They don't tell you that it's part-time jobs propping up the economy, and how inflation is still much higher than anybody wants it to be. And it's actually higher than the numbers because the government toys with those. They don't tell you that the stock market isn't at all-time highs if you adjust for inflation. It's just nonsense. They don't tell you that the only reason GDP is up is because of government spending being so outrageous and us going into more debt. Like, we're at the biggest debt ratio we've ever had in our country. They don't tell you any of that. They just throw those three things out there, and that's what they use. So, beer sponsorship. Does anyone know a marketing guy? Are you teasing me? I'm a marketing guy, but listen, for one thing, I don't have much spare time. I don't know how to go chasing sponsorships, but if one of you guys wants to help me out, I would love to sponsor a beer. Michael, you were hoping I would have interpreted your beautiful big fish catch you had last week. It sat on its belly and looked happy I caught it. Your dream, I mean, it sounded pretty straightforward to me. It sounded like you interpreted it. Goodwill, people who are arrogant about their NVIDIA would never survive a short squeeze. Stonk moms, yeah, right. See, teaches the crypto way. See, Anthony, they want to know. First rule about crypto, you never talk about crypto. Well, you haven't shut up about it. Candace, and they always downgrade a month later. Exactly. Yeah, that's right. They do it with the GDP. They do it with the unemployment as well. So tag me in the chart, then video may follow Cisco. Oh, I think I saw that chart. I'll pull it up in a minute. 10 ace in the hole memberships from Anthony. Thanks, buddy. Look at all these new memberships. By the way, I just did a member live on Sunday, guys. It was an 1.5 hour one too. It's a long one. So now you guys can go all watch it. Thanks, bud. I appreciate you. All right. This is interesting. The whole world is now Japan circa 1990, one gargantuan asset bubble ready to explode. And soon central banks will be out of ammo, having created an asset bubble beyond their own control. And the monster bailout bubble is called artificial intelligence. Perfect. Remember, Japan 1990, that's right before the major Asian market crash that lasted throughout the 90s. Affected the entire world. So just look at this. This is nuts how we're moving here. We are in a bubble. I'm sorry. I know I'm bullish on AI long term. I really am. I think AI is going to change our lives. I was just talking about today as I was working on something, and there's just new things coming out that are just incredible. And what ChatGPT is able to do more and more every day, it's just incredible. But something's coming. Matthew, you still believe there'll be No crash or major correction. You just think we're going up, up, up? I just can't see how that's possible. Big JR, we get Zima to sponsor me. I drink Zima if it's free. It's not very good. Anthony, they love you, man. Now when we meet up in Texas, Anthony will be with me, and you guys can, maybe buy him a beer. How's AI stock doing? I mean, overall, really good right now. Most of them. Nvidia's new chip's amazing. I mean, it costs them $30,000 to buy one, but guess what? It's 30 times more powerful than the current chips that are running AI. Once they start distributing those, and the AI companies get a hold of that chip, it's going to accelerate AI capabilities double in the next year. AI will double in the next year based on these chips. I'm telling you right now, just watch. It's crazy. But it doesn't mean that the stocks aren't overinflated, because they are. Oh, here's what I was looking for. It's Vanguard that said Federal Reserve probably won't cut rates this year now. So Vanguard's basically right up there with BlackRock. They're predicting probably no rate cuts this year. So it's getting interesting. Budweiser's trying to change his image. Yeah, not here. I'm not going to help them do it. Goodwill, Anthony's really good at crypto stuff. I'm going to have him on one of these days. Matthew says there'll be a correction 10% or less. Everyone talking market crash, so there won't be one this year. Maybe, or you know what the difference though is, Matthew, this time? And like, I get what you're saying, and in the past I would have agreed with you, but there's a difference this time. The difference is that this time there are far more people who've educated themselves on the economy, and also the eruption of Twitter has made it so people talk more. And in the past, people knew about it, but they didn't get it. They couldn't get a microphone to spread the news. So is it that more people are talking? Because I look at it, and I disagree with you on this. There's a lot of people saying it's not going to happen who are always wrong. For one, Jim Cramer. There's a lot of people predicting it won't crash who've been wrong in the past and were wrong in the previous crashes. Whereas some of the people who were right in those, they just didn't have the platform before. So I don't think we can say that trend is still the same as it's been in the past. I don't know if Alpine's requested a stay. I just know it's been denied wherever they were so far. BB Zima, something different. They're not very good. They're not very good. You set up a beer fund? I'll take a beer fund. AI has killed Moore's Law. Can you remind me Moore's Law? You used to put Jolly Ranchers in your Zimas? Ew. That's so gross. Ken Griffin arrested soon. R.I.P. Lou. Yeah, McLovin. We talked about that at the beginning. AITX at a 2-year low. It's 0.2 cents. Warren Buffett has an average of 8.5% ownership in the 5 largest Japanese general trading companies. Thought this was interesting. That is interesting. I mean, he's got the insider track on everything. So, Aaron, Big Lou posted on video YouTube Shorts. What? He just posted one? All right, you got it. I got to pull this up. I mean, his buddy Elk came out and said goodbye to him. Oh, he didn't just... This isn't Lou. I mean, this is old. This is a couple weeks old. That's his latest short. So that's not from him. Aaron. Lyrical, you learn more on YouTube than you did when attending college classes? That's not crazy. It's not crazy, because what we're learning because of YouTube, Twitter, all these places is that college is a scam. It is for most people in most degrees. When I say that, obviously there's exceptions, but for the high majority of the time, it's a scam. And the setup of it is a scam, even if you go for the right reason. But they don't teach you much in college. You learn so much more just grinding and doing your own research. It's, there are a lot of great breweries. Dogfish Head's just my favorite. So, Kit in the hizzy. GameStop the 26. What are you saying, Kit? Is there earnings? Is that what's coming? All right, let me keep going through my stuff here. Oh, speaking of college, nearly 60% of students with marketing degrees are working high school level jobs 5 years after graduation. 5 years after. So their degrees is dog shit. Sorry, it is. That's 60% too. That's should tell you all you need to know right now. And I'm telling you right now, this number. Why did I do that again? This number is going to be up to 90% in 2 years because AI is negating the jobs of. I'm in marketing. I'm a marketing director. I oversee the entire department. Um, you don't need. You barely need any help anymore. I'd say anywhere from, depending on the size of the company, it's getting to the point where marketing teams of 50 people, it'll go down to five. That's all they'll need because of AI. And and that's going to happen with a lot of college degrees. People need to learn business. They need to learn how to talk to people in person. And they need to learn how to manage AI because it's going to increase their workflow so much, and they need to learn to work with their hands. If they can do those four things right there, those are going to be the people who succeed in the future. AI is going to take out so much of these jobs. It's crazy. Cannabis plays going to the March 21st congressional meeting. Goodwill, you have a BS in biology from Albany. I mean, do you use it for anything, Goodwill? Games, earnings. Okay, is March 26th. Yeah. KYP, learn and trader gets certifications. I have 3 degrees of paying back the student loan. Yeah, the student loans. That's one of the reasons it's just not worth it most of the time, KYP. You're right. It's the student loans are killers. Treehouse is the best beers. I don't know if I've had Treehouse. The more GameStop's dropping, the more it's likely to pump. You know, I don't know if earnings means anything anymore for most of these companies, not where we're at. So people learn to trade. Yeah. You have to learn business. You just have to learn business because it's becoming, AI is going to make, if you understand how to leverage AI, ChatGPT and all these other things as they're growing, right? You learn how to leverage AI, you are going to be worth what 10 people were worth in the workspace, white collar work 5 years ago. I'm not even kidding. 10 people, maybe 20. That's how much work and time AI is taking, is going to expedite everything with one person who knows what they're doing. When I first got into marketing, I was a content copywriter. It was my full-time job, content copywriting. Okay. I got paid 40 hours a week to do that. Salaried employee, but 40 hours a week. I was on a team of 9 full-time people doing social media, emails, sales funnels, ads, blogs, websites, all that. I do 90% of that now myself, thanks to AI. 90% of that. It's nuts what AI is capable of doing. And that's just in a 5-year time period. It's absolutely insane. So they need to learn business. They have to learn business. Goodwill, I love it. Economics major, good for her. Good for her. Mantang, you trade options and chart Rod. Oh, you're talking Roger. Okay. You are late. Sorry, Cindy, about an hour late. I don't have any concrete updates on GTI right now. No. Goodwill, you needed it to get your job. Your job's more physics and chemistry than anything. You're at work right now. Yeah. So, by the way, you're working hard, huh? So Goodwill, I mean, they still have that it's a faux necessity of making you have a degree to get into certain fields. I get it. That still exists. So certain jobs, you have to still do it. I think certain jobs, you still do need extensive schooling, especially if you're going into medical, engineering, law, stuff like that. Most stuff, though, needs to be learned by grinding and doing. Marketing is one of those things that I'd say vast majority of majors, that's what you should do. Just start working, grinding, get good. And in college is a waste of time. And it's especially the first 2 years being gen ed that's just to collect money. That's the only reason that exists. There's no reason you should spend 2 more years of your life doing a bunch of classes that have nothing to do with why you're there. It's so stupid. And it's like spending $100,000 just to for something you could Google for 2 weeks. I hate it. So but I get what you're saying, Goodwill. There are certain skills that you do still have to learn, and I'm not against that, but I still don't like the system. Talat, do I think Divi for GTI could trigger a run? Yes, if they decide to deliver them. If they decide to deliver them and they finally want to get it off their books or they're forced to do it, yes, I 100% believe it could trigger a run. Vinman, ChatGPT does teacher lesson plans in 15 seconds. Yeah, that's very true. Remember GameStop last year pumped 40% during earnings at Cabot? You're right. It could happen again. I feel like the market is more manipulated right now than ever because they're preparing for something. So I'm less bullish, but I'll be watching closely. How many milliliters is a drop of water? I don't know, Thomas. Does it matter? I'll ask ChatGPT. Tim Harmon, are my video preview images AI? Yes, they are. I use a GBT on ChatGPT 4 to design it. Now, I'll put together multiple images and I'll combine them through Canva. And that's where the designer eye comes in. That's what I mean by managing AI. People still have to have an eye for things to know if what what the AI is spitting out is good or not. You have to have an eye. You have to have an ear. You have to be able to tell this video is fire. This copywriting is good. This image is awesome. You have to still have an eye for that, because some of the stuff AI puts out is crap, and you have to keep staying on it. But anyways, yes, my thumbnails have been AI created. Some jobs are required certifications now. Yeah. Oh yeah. I had to have a food service certification in Texas when I was at when I worked at a restaurant, but it was easy to get. It took like 2 hours. Kate, you learned nothing in college after the service, argued with your economics professor. He said Ford took a bailout. No, they took a loan and paid it back in full. Trade schools are far beyond value. Yeah, I completely agree. Yeah. Todd, NYCB, 57% CRE exposure. TikTok, they're going to need more than 1 billion. Yeah, I've been saying it the whole time. You're right. The naked short for GTI, as far as we know, is somewhere around 500 million. And it's, in my opinion, it's higher, but we don't have numbers. I have not seen Odd Thomas. Sorry. You're holding out for a sweet board position in Ukrainian oil company. You need to see if the big guy will adopt you. I think they're preparing for a major crash or correction as well, James. I really do. Roger, when do we start calling our brokers, telling them we're expecting our GTI Divvy shares in April? I think maybe the week before, 10 days ahead of time would be good. Just start calling and be polite and just be like, hey, we're coming up on a year in GTI. I just want to make sure there's not going to be any issues with me getting my dividend. And there you go. It's pretty easy to create verifiable certifications. Al, you're totally right, but don't tell anybody. It doesn't matter if you grow your own veggies. Okay, fair. Yeah, I got Mike Obama 6 fingers. That is the hardest thing AI has with graphics is hands. That's a fact. Guyed, who I really like, he's been really on the what's going on with Japan as being an issue. I think this guy's really smart. I think his timing's just been off. I've followed up on everything he's saying, and it checks out. I mean, what he watches as far as his indicators are, he is right on that. In the past, they have shown that we're headed towards a credit event. He's had some really good calls. He's also missed a couple things. Some people are really critical of him, but I pay attention to him because I'm at the point now where I understand, especially being somebody who's out in public now, that I don't fault people if their timing predictions are off, as long as the reasons for their predictions are solid. And that's what I think with Guyed, and he's really ramping up again lately. He did think it was going to go further down October, November. The rise in November surprised him, which I think it surprised most of us. And then obviously in December, once Powell came out and made it sound like there'd be rate cuts, the market went up. Everybody kind of could see that coming. But with all that's been going on this last month, BTFP being pulled, the commercial real estate issues, Japan raising rates, all those are major things that have just happened in the last week and a half. He's been really ramping up, and so says it's not a soft landing, it's a kamikaze. And so I'm really interested to see if he calls that. So anyways, but all right, that goes through all the presentation I had tonight, but doesn't mean the conversation's over. Let's see where we're at. James, cool, 500 million GTI naked short position is great. It is for us. I agree. Mike, you went to an AI conference, learned all about GPT-4 and program you just talked about that integrates with. Yeah, I mean, ChatGPT is incredible. In fact, I'll just show you guys something real quick because I know some of you probably haven't messed with it much, and I mess with it all the time because it's a big part of my job. But I'll just show you some of the insane capabilities this thing has right now. And so this is the typical ChatGPT screen once you open it up. Let me make this smaller so you guys can see better. But it's right there, just what ask for the prompts. But this is where it really is getting amazing. So up here where it says explore GPTs. And this is all programmed areas where it's it's created all these different things you can do within it. And I've played with a lot of this stuff. It's unbelievable. I mean, the image generators they have now are just crazy. You can create coloring books for your kids if you want. You can outline a book really well, get all kinds of details on it, even have it start certain things for you. You can upload entire papers. The other day I needed to research and I found these old articles that were very wordy and very hard to read on their own, especially the way they were formatted. And so I just copied them, pasted it in ChatGPT, said summarize this for me, and it gave me the information within a minute. It's pretty crazy. The coding, I'm telling you, by next year, in 2 years, you're going to be able to just program yourself like video games really easily. It's nuts. It's absolutely crazy. And this is just basically, we're still in the first generation pretty much, or second generation. So, but I can do so much on here that for marketing, it's unbelievable. So you learn how to use it, and it's crazy. It's only $20 a month for all this too. It's wild. Just Mike, your tax guy says you can claim 4 Ukrainians as dependents. Media, drinking Pliny the Elder in celebration of the lives of put on. Oh, thanks, Media. Pliny the Elder is good beer. That's a really good beer. Yeah. I have been doing a lot of lives, haven't I? James, don't know if I mentioned verified Lou passed away. Yeah, I did. We talked about it at the beginning. Yep. If your timing is off, you're still wrong. You're wrong if you can be wrong on, like if I said that, if I said April really looks like, and I told you all the reasons, and I said, look at this indicator, look at this indicator, look at this indicator, and all that data is correct. Okay. And in the past, when all those things have lined up, it said all this is, within 4 weeks, every time all this happens, within 4 weeks, this happens. And so if I brought you all that info and I was like, look at all this info, look at what history says. And because of that, I really believe April, we're going to see this cred event happen. We're going to see crash happen because this is what it's always happened. And then it doesn't happen in April. That means my timing was off, but the data didn't change. The data wasn't wrong. And that's what I'm saying. And so if that data hasn't changed and it's still there, then what does it do? It puts you on standby. It says, okay, well, I'm not wrong about what's coming because that hasn't been misproven yet. I mean, it's going to take longer than being off by a couple weeks or a month to be wrong about this. It's just like the Big Short. Those guys were not wrong. Their timing was off, but they weren't wrong. And so what did they do? They didn't just give up when it didn't happen, when they didn't think it was going to happen. They said, we're holding on to this because the data hasn't changed. And then they all made money. And so that's the thing. It's like, you're not wrong if the timing's off, as long as the story doesn't change. And so that's what I mean about Gaiad. Roger, dad asked his child's AI app if it was a demon. It said, no, I'm an angel. He asked which fallen angel. Replied, Beelzebub. Oh, jeez. Big JR, yes, AI, who's the man? Replied, you're the man. Of course, you control me. Now you're pro AI. I love it. The Grok is really funny if you ask it questions like that on Twitter. What are my thoughts on the Reddit IPO? I don't know. I mean, I don't understand why. I don't understand the value of Reddit as a stock. I don't. So I have no idea what to think about it. You asked AI who is Corn Pop. Oh God. Any input on GTI being around the 30-cent range for a month now? It's pure manipulation. It's the only thing that makes sense. There's nothing else that makes sense. They are afraid of letting it go higher, and I think they're struggling to get it lower. That's all I can say. It seems to me that for whatever reason, GTI has gained some strength on the bottom. Now, I don't know if it'll hold, but it definitely has had it for a while, and they are just fighting to keep it at that 30 level. They don't want it to go up, and that's the only thing that I can tell from it. So, Corn Pop is a bad dude. Might be early, but I'm not wrong. That's right. Yeah, that's right, Goodwill. Exactly. That's wasn't that what's his name? Jared, who's played by a Gosling in that? Yeah. I might be early, but I'm not wrong. I love that. Great question. Yeah, the story hasn't changed in anything. It's why, I mean, why do I keep going after this from different angles? You know, with say with our stocks like GTI and Finger. You know, for a while I was saying, you know, these are counter market plays, and I believe that, and I believed it because of The Big Short, and I believed it because of what I'd read and by the studying I'd done of markets here and there. But I also, like, I was challenged on that. And so I said, you know what? I need to research this deeper. I need to actually, like, really see if this is historically accurate. There are some holes in my story that I don't know. And so what did I do? I took it to ChatGPT 4, which is an amazing place of information, guys. It's not perfect, but it's amazing. And it's very, for the most part, very accurate. And I took it to that and I just broke down the entire scenario, and you guys saw it. I did the video. I don't want to keep rehashing it, but I'm telling you guys why I did it. I did it to see if there were any holes in my argument. I did it to see if I was wrong. I did it to see if there's exceptions. And what I found is that so far there has not been. And what did that tell me? It said that if the story is what we believe it to be, and it hasn't changed in GTI and Finger and probably a bunch of others, Pedro thinks there's hundreds of them. Not as big, but they're still there. That if that story doesn't change, we are pretty much destined for a big, major, humongous run in these stocks. It's just a matter of when. And so just like he says, oh, Michael Burry, that's right. Okay, it was Burry who said it. I may be early, but I'm not wrong. So, I mean, that's the thing. It's like the story hasn't changed. And so what do I do? Yeah, I've tried Grok Kryptonian. It's pretty good. Some things I really like about it, some things I don't. It's definitely not as good as ChatGPT. But anyways, my point is that I just keep going through these things, and I keep testing my theories, and I keep testing the story. And now I've been doing this for a year and a half. I did not used to do this with AMC. With AMC, I didn't know enough, and I just went in trusting more. And I trusted Lou. I trusted Al from Boston. I trusted Thomas James, and all these guys on the AMC side of things. And I trusted them. And then my world was rocked in a way. I mean, not completely, but it was kind of rocked when Lou started calling out Adam Aron. And I was like, well, that's interesting. And he started saying all this stuff, but then Al from Boston was defending Adam Aron, and so were other people. And I was like, why is Lou the one after it? And Lou was the one I liked the most because he made me laugh the most, and I just felt like he seemed the most genuine. And as Lou would say stuff, sure enough, it was write what he would say, or Adam Aaron would act like Lou would kind of call it. And I was like, well, that's interesting. But my point though is that up to that point, I had never tested any of that. I didn't know a CEO could screw you over. I didn't know any of this. I didn't know the background of how they could get out of it. I didn't know any of that. I just knew that it was a major short squeeze and they were trapped in it because so many people had bought, and it was only a matter of time. But with GTI and Finger, it's been completely different, because I've looked for all the holes. I've looked for all the ways they could escape. I've looked for all the way, like historically, in the now, all of that. And it's just, they can't get out unless they're given a way out. And they haven't been given that. So, at least as far as we know. And I think it'd be hard to hide. So, yeah, to me, I get more and more conditioned and confident in these things. Now, timing, I have no idea. But I'm more and more convinced that it's going to be tied to a downturn in the economy. So John Krasinski will play me. Oh man, he's a good looking guy. I'm okay with that. Anthony, sorry guys, you'll stop shorting GTI. You're a secret millionaire thanks to McDonald's monopolization. Damn it, Anthony. It was you the whole time. Coming after you. It's ChatGPT free. Yeah, there is a free version. It's 3.5. It's still pretty good. But if you want all that extra stuff, like the image generators, and where ChatGPT 4, far superior to 3.5. 3.5 is good, but 4 is superior by far. And it just costs $20 a month to use all of that. So if you have anything that you could use for your business or whatever, marketing, stuff like that, or some hobby stuff you want to work on, writing, it's fantastic. Kryptonian, in that story, they fought, debated, argued, but they stayed in. Don't let the government or market shake you out due to fear. Amen to that. Yeah. Thomas, SEC got verbally slapped around by that female judge. Abusive powers and understatement. Yeah. Todd, do I think the shorts might have used ChatGPT to see if they can get out? No, they're too stupid. I'll tell you what, a lot of this AI stuff is, if you're, most people like say 45, 50 and older, they're going to have to be told to use it. They're just going to keep doing what they're always doing. It's just like all tech when it's a new thing. It's always the younger people who jump on it first. And these crook guys, they're so arrogant. I don't think they're looking at ChatGPT for anything. And I don't think they believe it if it told them something, if they did use it. I think they are just chugging along, and they feel kind of sick, that they feel like they're stuck, but they're also arrogant enough to believe that eventually they'll beat us, because they've probably always won so far. They've probably always shaken out retail before. So I don't think they still think they can eventually break out. Kit, it'll be a flip it switch day, then all of the months of spoofing will be a blur. Absolutely, Kit. I completely agree with that. Immortal, Alpine expelled, we get dividends, good singer coming. 100%. It's we're in the dregs right now. I don't think it's going to get much worse. Husker, you go back and watch The Big Short. If you get overwhelmed, it really does reignite the fire. Amen. See, you see those guys and how they fought through it, and they did it for years, 3 to 5 years, depending on which story you're in that one you're following. 3 to 5 years they did it, guys. I mean, and it paid off. Sora does look crazy, Anthony. You're absolutely right. Should use AI to tell us how shorts can get out of this and develop a counter strategy. Roger, we already have. We're in the counter strategy right now. There's only so much we can do. It's up to the CEOs to keep fighting on this side, and for us not to give up, and then it'll win. But there's not that much else we can do. I don't know if you guys have seen the Sora stuff that Anthony's talking about, but you guys got to see this if you haven't. This is going to completely change movies and videos. This is AI. This is what they typed in as a prompt. They just wrote this. Now, this isn't open to the public yet, but it's coming. But this is AI generated. Look how real that looks. This is prompt historical footage of California during the gold rush, and it just created this. This is supposed to be released later this year, but they're showing us none of this is real, guys. None of this is real footage. This looks just like the Sierra Nevada mountains where I grew up, and it looks real. The art gallery, it's just crazy. It's absolutely crazy. These historical videos it puts out, look at that dog. This is the future. This is the future. Yeah. So, oh yeah, the ankles. Yeah, they have a little problems with the people still, but just wait. It's coming. It's not that won't be a problem forever. It'll adjust. So they'll adjust. But anyways, it's getting crazy. It's getting crazy. In my opinion, in the next 10 years, like most entertainment jobs, marketing jobs, will be gone. Most of them will be gone. You'll still need people to manage it. They'll still want real actors and stuff. They will, because that'll always be better. AI is never going to be able to fully replicate the human experience. But wait for animation. Animation they'll take over. It'll take care of all special effects, and yeah. So and there's a bunch of other jobs that'll take over. Originally we used to think it was going to be the robots were going to be AI, right? And so they always told the blue collar people they'll be out of jobs, but it's the opposite. It's all the white collar people who work on computers for a living. They're going to become, their jobs are going to become useless. You're just going to need one person for every 20. 19 of them will lose their jobs, and the one person who's good at managing the AI and keeping it going, that'll be the person who has a job. So, and anyways, it's absolutely crazy. Andy, you're right. You're an old fart. You hate tech. Your wife is a programmer. She loves it. Yeah. It's crazy. Huh? It's just nuts. Yeah. Boxy, but good. I mean, the detail is unbelievable on those things. Unreal Engine 5 looks insane. And it's going to be a heck of a PS6. Yeah, it will be. Oh, he's so fun. Yeah. And that's the thing. If you, personally, I'm going to look at the bright side of it. Cause there's one thing that, can AI make a video of me working? I could probably, Roger. What I think is going to happen is, so there's a lot of people afraid that AI will take over from a human standpoint, replace that, or try to, or go on that really dangerous level. I don't believe in that. I don't. But that's because I believe people have a soul or a spirit, and AI cannot replicate that. In fact, they just released these CIA studies from the 80s are going around right now, where the CIA figured out that your consciousness does not come from your brain. And it's from the 1980s. The paper was written in 83. And it was like, yeah, our tests show that consciousness doesn't come from the brain. Well, a computer cannot replicate something beyond the physical. It'll never be able to. It'll imitate it, but it'll never replicate it. So I don't think we have to worry about that stuff. What I do think is going to happen is there's going to be a major transition where, and it's going to be a good thing, where AI is going to actually be able to do most of the hard work for us, and our work weeks will get shorter, but there's going to be a lot more money going around, especially for those who know what they're doing. And yeah, I think overall there's going to be a lot more leisure time going forward. But the thing is, so I told you guys already, in 40 hours a week, I do what a team of 9 people did 5 years ago. And I do it at 90% of that capability, 90% of that. So I've become, 8.5 people worth, or 8 people's worth of a marketing team in just 5 years because of utilizing AI. And it's nowhere near that advanced yet. And that's just right now. So imagine what's going to happen down the road. It's going to be wild. It's going to be wild. But I I'm going to look at the positive side of it. I think it can be a really good thing for most of us, but the transition is going to be interesting. It's basically another industrial revolution. It really is. You'll be playing video games again, Kryptonian? There you go. Mike Castillo, can you use AI to create STL files to print on 3D printers? Oh, I'm pretty sure you could. I don't see why not. And if you can't now, you could. So is AI literally living in a simulation? The answer is yes, JR. Vinman, crazy people with Dudley Moore, they're boxy, but they're I saw that movie once. That was a long time ago. Only the Amish will survive what's to come. I don't agree with that, but they'll, the Amish are doing great right now. So Big JR, you want to see those studies? Let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Free Guy was pretty good. I'm pretty sure I bookmarked it. Yeah, here we go, JR. I'm going to tag you in this, okay? And let me tag you in a comment. There you are. All right, there you go, man. Now you can go down the rabbit hole. Husker, all this AI talk. Oh yeah, you work for a federal contractor and cannot use AI, even though it would be a great help. See, isn't that stupid, Roger? that's our government at work, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, let's hamstring our workers and make their jobs harder. It's so stupid. I mean, that's only going to be a lot of time. I work with this guy. He's awesome, my boss, and he's all about AI. He's like, hey, find out more. I actually get paid a bonus every month for discovering more AI programs to use. Isn't that fun? Kryptonian, you have a theory on that? If people with high capacity for software and administration are developing this tool versus manual labor positions developing this tool, we create what we know. That's possible. Yeah. The other thing I'd say, though, Kryptonian, is it's actually much easier to teach AI this stuff. It's much easier to teach AI because this is stuff you can feed into it that it can learn much quicker versus having to train a robot where it's got to have all this physical stuff going on. Also how to do things, to spec, to detail. And obviously there's a lot of capabilities already there. I mean, we look at 3D printers, all the automated factories. I mean, we're really close on that end, but just the fact of making decisions plus being able to move around AI wise that's a much more processing than what's needed to just write something. So I think it's just a natural progression. Aaron, Bernie Sanders wants to do 32 work hours a week for 40 hours pay. You want this? Yeah, listen, Aaron, I don't disagree with that, except I don't want it to be mandated. I think it'd be stupid if it was federally mandated because we're not there yet. And all that'll do is open up the government to, first of all, if people are working less right now before we're really there, before it's natural, let the market decide is my point. Let the market get us there, not government requirements, because that'll just cause a bunch of issues, especially on like the business side of things. If they're having to pay people more, but there's less productivity, guess what? Prices go up even more. So it's going to be the summer of you. You're getting a huge block of cheese. Oh, nice. Love it. All right. I'm going to take off too, guys. So have a good night, JR. I'm going to take off. I'm just going to close out with a prayer as usual. God bless everybody. Have a great night. Please like, subscribe, share. R.I.P. to Lou and his family. Just God bless his family. And R.I.P. to him, big guy. But yeah. Is it normal for AI to keep asking you John Connor? Does ChatGPT ask you in the middle of a conversation? By the way, where's John Connor? Anyways, I'm going to close out. So, all right. So, Father God, thank you for all you're doing. God, with whatever is coming, I just pray you guide us in it. I know that, God, there's always doomsday scenarios that are predicted and they never fully come about. So I know that's you and your goodness. but it doesn't mean there's not crazy challenges ahead. And so I just pray you help us navigate them and just be with everybody here and help us prosper in this time. And just pray you bless everybody to just be knowledgeable on these things so that they have the tools to prosper going forward as well. So bless everybody here, give them peace and just wisdom and rest in this and the ongoing fight, and let's bring justice to our country, to the markets, and all of it. And we love you, and thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Bless you guys. Have an awesome